Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And yesterday the CDL announced pretty much a map set overhaul for Stage 2. Crossroads is gone, Garrison Search and Destroy is gone as well. Two maps have come into the fray, certainly the maps we would like to have seen, but the questions are there. Which teams benefit from this change, but also, did these changes not go far enough? Should other changes be made going forwards? And whether other maps come into play, that might be an option. Enjoy, take your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you were new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, just wanted to mention this real quick. Way back at 10,000 subscribers, I believe it was March 2019, something like that, I did a Q&A for 10k subs. So I thought it's probably a good idea to do the same thing again this time around. Over the coming days, I'll pop up like a post or something like that on the community tab or whatever of the channel. You'll probably see it more on mobile. But when it happens, I'll let you guys know in a video or something. And then you can leave your questions if you have any in, I suppose, in a reply to that. And then it makes it easier for manage. And then I'll make a video like that in a couple of weeks' time. Something along those lines. So but yeah, honestly, thank you so much. I mean, like, we had like 600 subs overnight or something, so I don't know what's going on anymore. Let's just hop into the video. Method says this yesterday, I look good on a billboard. I thought this is pretty unfortunate, right, given he's the face of the billboard, the face of the Toronto Ultras brand, but of course it's the four guys behind it that are now on the team. So we'll have to see how Toronto do this week, but it is their own home series, technically. The first week of Stage 2 is, even though there's no winner of it, of course, as you can see right here, this is a Toronto Ultras plan, at least for the week, and on Thursday the home series does begin, just a couple of days' time. Then they play their match on Friday and Saturday up against Los Angeles Thieves and Atlanta FaZe. So not the easiest couple of matches for Insight to come into this lineup. We'll have to see how they do, all things considered. Also, this was crazy. I thought this news yesterday from Kevin Durant. I mean, a lot of people, of course, have invested into the Call of Duty League and other associated bodies over these last couple of years in terms of big celebrity names. But Kevin Durant decided to invest in Anbox, the subliners, of course, to continue the growth of esports in New York and beyond. So, of course, look, I don't follow the NBA too closely, but I know who Kevin Durant is, and I thought this is pretty funny from Prime in replies. DiamondCon isn't the only snake on New York now. Quality tweet, definitely deserved a mention in a video. But yeah, pretty crazy stuff, to be honest. Announcing a new investment in the subliners. I mean, a lot of, as I said, a lot of celebrities have come into the scene kind of in the last couple of years. How much of a close role would they play, rather than it's maybe there's just an investment they're putting in to see if it does anything, as opposed to actually being directly involved. But yeah, still cool to see that Call of Duty has such a great pull right now, especially, well, it's such a cultural game, to be honest, at the present time. Anyway, this is what the CDL do yesterday. New maps in the rotation for Stage 2. Apocalypse Hardpoint is in. We've talked about this the last few days. The idea that, okay, Apocalypse is coming in for Hardpoint especially. Crossroads is going out. A lot of pros didn't really like Crossroads. It did have a lot of engagements on that map, but it seems like this new Apocalypse map that was added not too long ago now is very viable indeed for Hardpoint especially. And there are concerns, well, potentially concerns, about some of the other maps in the rotation for the other game modes. Could Apocalypse replace those as well, and we could have Apocalypse for more maps than just the Hardpoints? We imagine that for Stage 2, this entire rotation is going to stay the same, because during Stage 1 there was actually a change to Crossroads Hardpoint, right? They changed where P4 was, went down towards that ice area rather than over at the back there, and clearly people didn't seem to like that. But also the pros didn't play on that new patch, I suppose, for the rest of Stage 1. They just decided to play on the old patch until Stage 1 concluded, then make all the changes for Stage 2. So I'm pretty sure this is just going to be the entire rotation for Stage 2, but in my opinion it is certainly a step up on what we had. So Crossroads Hardpoint is gone. Definitely a frustrating map. I don't think it was the greatest one to watch. Pretty decent to play on in league play and stuff. I mean, I don't know, on a Hardpoint so much better than the other game modes, all things considered, that I don't really mind playing on it too much regardless. But for competitive play, probably wasn't the greatest. Apocalypse comes in, and then the interesting one, of course, for me is the Search and Destroy. We've been talking for quite a while now, the idea that, okay, where is Express, right? The fact that it's come back for Black Ops 2 was such a great Search and Destroy map back then. Garrison is officially gone. Now, there are other maps, the likes of Miami, that people have been questioning. Personally, as I've said at the time, I don't think Miami's too bad, because at least you can actually go to both bomb sites and actually get it down and try and defend it. Whereas on Garrison, it's just never going to happen. It's literally a one bomb site map. I don't think A was ever planted in the Pro League so far this season. On Checkmate, it has happened that A has been planted, and maybe if there is another map that is viable, it could be Checkmate Search and Destroy that is next out. But a lot of people have been talking about Express Search and Destroy in general and saying there are quite a few issues with this map at the present time. I think a few people have been saying you can kind of see, you can see like names and such through some of the train cars, which clearly isn't ideal. There's some other glitches which are maybe the likes of Cellium and some other players like this that like to, abusing game mechanics and things like this will actually take advantage of to gain some competitive edge. So it's interesting. I'm not sure Express S&D is perfect. There's a couple of reasons maybe that the pros didn't want it coming in, given you can jump up on the train now in basically one jump that you couldn't do way back in Black Ops 2. But all things considered, it's got to be better than Garrison Search and Destroy. I don't think there's any arguing that. One of the questions though that comes as a result of this, we see a lot of positive support from the pros. Of course, the pros voted for it, you would imagine, so it does make sense that they are on board with this change. But yeah, Thatcher's W right here. Crimsix is pretty happy with this move as well. Simp drops the W also. But as I point out right here, Checkmate Control lives on to fight another day. So Checkmate Control has been somewhat of the concern. There was a question, okay, Express, I think they were trialing it for Control. Could Apocalypse work for Control as well? There's been some discussion about Apocalypse Search and Destroy. Maybe, you could replace Checkmate or something with Apocalypse Surge. And yeah, also Control is a bit of a question mark, because on Checkmate, it's not necessarily the greatest. Garrison also isn't the greatest. I'm not exactly sure what the win percentages on offense are on a Checkmate versus Garrison. Probably slightly higher on Garrison, but really I've only seen FaZe do a pretty good job on their offenses on that map. So I'm not really sure. Control only really is fantastic in my opinion on raids. So there is still some questions to be asked this season about, okay, the Control map set isn't maybe ideal, but at the same time, I mean, it's only played one time a series, and we get raid a fair amount of those times. Hardpoint and Search and Destroy played twice a series, and now we have what is, in my opinion, a pretty significant map upgrade, even though not everyone likes Apocalypse, but I'm pretty sure everyone's relatively happy at least to see Express come into the game, but maybe I'm not necessarily too happy to see Garrison the one being gone. As I know, there's been a lot of discussion about Miami and Checkmate, especially over these last several days. As EasyMax says, get Apocalypse S&D in, and we have a solid map ball until more DLC comes out. Super satisfied that the hardpoint version of the map is in, though. That map plays absolutely great. And there are certainly some questions about who benefits from this change. OpTic Chicago yesterday scrimming up against Wester, and then against LAG, and certainly the Wester scrims were pretty interesting, right? Because it was just yesterday or a couple of days ago that Wester announced a Decimate onto their team. Now, supposedly he didn't realize what role exactly he was going to be playing on this squad, but they went into scrims against OpTic, and they got completely bodied. I watched a few of them. I mean, I tuned in for a couple of maps on Envoy stream. They went onto Apocalypse and basically 50-point clubbed them. And these were another couple of images right here of OpTic scrims later in the day up against Los Angeles Guerrillas. And 250 to 34 here on raid. And also Apocalypse, which seems to be a pretty good map for them. I think they maybe lost it to FaZe a couple of times, but relatively back and forth in those ones. And here against LAG again, 250 to 31 here on Apocalypse. So maybe LAG hadn't been doing too much scrimming on this map, but certainly OpTic were looking really good yesterday. And there are some questions about this, right? Like, which teams does it benefit in the sense that, look, Crossroads was not a good map for OpTic, and not a good map for a number of teams, but it was pretty much OpTic's perma veto until they decided to play it against Los Angeles Thieves in the major match, where they actually won, and then they played it again against the Subliners, and then they lost that one in that series. So they went also played Garrison Search and Destroy as well. So the two maps that they lost, the first two maps, the Checkmate Control was very close. There was their 4 versus 11 choke in that round 4 of the Checkmate Control, but the first two maps they lost were Crossroads Hardpoint and Garrison Search and Destroy. Those two maps are now gone. So well, it definitely helps OpTic in that sense, right? Because Crossroads to me should have pretty much always been OpTic's perma veto based on what I'd seen of their scrims and such, and now it's actually completely out of the map set. Then well, maybe that helps them to some degree with Apocalypse coming into play. They seem relatively comfortable on. There are some teams as well that were pretty good on Crossroads, right? Like Los Angeles Guerrillas, for example, had some decent results on that map. Dallas Empire as well, I remember them having a couple of decent results on that map also. So some teams maybe this hurts, some teams maybe it helps. No one really was that good, I don't think, on Garrison Search and Destroy, because there really wasn't too much you could do about it. And well, who will be the best team on Express? It's probably going to be Atlanta FaZe, you know how it goes. But also that map was played back in Black Ops 2, so early on you'd imagine the guys like Clayster, guys like Crim, guys that are actually playing back then, Scump of course as well, would have maybe something of an edge on that map early on in stage 2. But of course that's all speculation, whether that translates into reality, who really knows. And well, this is pretty entertaining, right? So Decimate says 300 challenges, Western leader Flecked. It seemed like all of a sudden he just played this scrim against OpTic, got completely bodied, and then they just dropped him off the team. But he says, I left the squad, didn't realise they wanted me to run a flex at first, only had it for, one or so day of scrims. And guess what happens as a result? It's Haggy back in the team. So we said a couple of days ago the fact that he was meant to be joining Wester, but it didn't happen after he comes off the Royal Ravens, because they decided to make this other change and bring Decimate into the lineup, because he, like his team with Methods, they ended up losing and didn't qualify for the Challengers Elite qualifiers or whatever for stage 2 of that side of things. But he actually does rejoin this team, as he says, woo Wester again. And this is pretty funny, right? So we talked about the possibility that Parasite and Zaptius, I'm not sure how many of you guys were around when we did that video when Parasite was DMing Zaptius' girlfriend in the middle of the tournament, and there was certainly some drama between those two guys at the time. Pretty incredible Call of Duty drama, you know how it goes. But they're actually going to be teaming together again, I believe for the first time since they split up, of course, after all those shenanigans back in the day. But yeah, Zaptius, Glowfrosty, and Venom on Wester official. So well, that will be the new team going forwards. And also wanted to mention this, just the final thing to finish out the video, Den's potentially coaching this team, as their former coach Phoenix is now coaching John's squad. So as you can see, Den's in this lobby right here when they were scrimming up against OpTic Chicago last night. But I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this map set change is a step in the right direction? Personally, I do. Does it not go far enough though? You could look at the control map set and still say that's not ideal. We're going to be playing with that, probably the Garrison, Checkmate and Raid map set on the control, of course, for at least another month month, you'd imagine, with Stage 2 probably being playing on just this map set with no other changes in addition to this. How long will it be until these changes get actioned in League play? That's certainly something I want to see, to be able to play Express Search and Destroy, at the very least in League play. If I do have to play Surge, at least I can play Express Search rather than Garrison, to be honest. And also the question marks, who benefits from this change, who falls down, or will all these teams learn to adapt over time? Enjoy taking your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.
Through curtains, you did see the shoulder of Sib and nearly caught a couple of bullets as well. And this pixel peek, brother. Jeez, dude, it's just... Brother. Yeah. Okay, Standy also walked through a much more traditional kill there. Sib will clean up the rest. And it was really funny. I don't know if it was you I was talking to. Yeah. You already know where I'm going with